back listening to NH Unscripted. You know, when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go to NH Unscripted. I did not say downtown, but that's okay. I am your Petula clock-like host, Ray Dudley. Glad to be out of bed. Got my Nehru jacket on, my bell-bottom pants, and my medallion. Happy, happy, happy. I'm like some kind of anachronistic shoot from the 70s. Anyway, you are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the Hollywood Square-like digs of the WKXL studios. Yep, I'm in the center square, just like old Paulin used to be. 1450 AM on your Sony Walkman, 103.9 FM on your transistor radio. The rich kids have the 16 transistors. I only used to have the 8, but I'm going to let that ride right there. 101.9 FM for the beautiful folks in Manchester. Yes, yes, yes. We have a URL because we're cool, and that's where all the cool kids like to hang out. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. All right, I got that business out of the way. Let me thank my sponsor, Lakes Region Fence. They're up in Guilford. You know, listen, my friend, it's getting towards the end of the summer. Oh, I have so much to say about theater in the summer. But anyway, I digress. Look at that dilapidated piece of you-know-what in your yard, and you're calling it a fence. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It's old. It's dying. Like everything else in your yard. Your veggies, it's all gone. Get rid of that thing. Go to lrfence.com. lrfence.com. There's a link there. You can get a free estimate. You know us old folks, we love free. We love coupons, we love free. Yes, we do. That's why we like buffets. Anyway, I digress. lrfence.com. You can go out there. Matt will give you a free estimate for a brand new fence. I'm telling you, I'm kind of giving you a heads up. They're 4 to 6 weeks out. Yeah, that's going to put you into the fall because you waited. I warned you earlier. Go out to lrfence.com. They have reams and reams and reams and reams and reams of photos of the great work they do. I have been on their job sites. I know Matt. He's a personal friend of mine. Their work is exemplary. lrfence.com. That's Lakes Region Fence. They're up in Guilford. They are a tremendous sponsor. Thank you, Matt, for all you do. Good luck this week. Matt is, by the way, in Little Shop of Horrors. Oh, I have a guest. Oh, wait. Here I am just... Deirdre Bridge is in the house. Good morning, Deirdre.
Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Well, as you can tell, I'm off on one of my rants. My old man rants. I don't have a TV to yell at right now, so I'm just going on a big, long-winded rant. I'm good. That's a long way to say. That's a long-winded way to say I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you.
I have not seen you. Well, we haven't talked in a long time, but I haven't seen you since you were in Theater Kapow's recent show, Paradise
Now with an exclamation point.
No. I do want to talk about that, but in the meantime, first, how are you? We haven't really talked at all.
I know. No, I'm good. I'm sort of having a chill summer. My kids are home.
Yeah?
We were at the beach last week.
Did I see a picture of your daughter with you on Instagram?
My daughter just turned 19. Yeah.
She's a beauty.
We went to Pickety Place.
You're so proud, Mom.
We reduced the average age of the visitor by 60 years or so. It was awesome. I loved it.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2.5. I have a stepson and 2 children that I birthed.
Okay.
So my daughter, she's the youngest. She's 19, and I have a son who's 20. He's going to be 21, and my stepson's 35.
Are either of them in college, or are they out?
They're at SNU. They're at SNU, and they live on campus.
That school is huge.
It's crazy. It's the largest private university in the United States. It has 170,000 students, but they're all online.
Yeah.
So the campus has under 5,000, I think, which is cool.
Yeah. Their online presence is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's wild. And their campus is gorgeous because they have all of these online students who sort of subsidize the campus, right, for all the kids who live there. But it's great. Yeah,
that's the one right off. It's in Manchester, right?
Yeah, it's right on the Manchester-Hooksett line.
Yeah, you can see it from 93, I think, as you go south.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been in one of their halls. Oh, I was there with Donald Tongue.
We did a play there together, Ray.
Oh, yeah, that's how... Now I recognize you.
Maybe we did a play there together a few years ago.
Oh, my God. Oh, I would be embarrassed if I get embarrassed, but I don't. So
I do get embarrassed, but that I have secondhand embarrassment for you. Right?
Thank you. Oh, I knew I shouldn't have got out of bed. Anyway, I do want to talk to you about Paradise Now, because I didn't know what to expect when I saw it. I love Kapow anyway. Their work is tremendous. But I wanted to talk to you specifically about the process that you went through, working with Kapow, being in the Bank of New Hampshire stage area. Give me a general overview of how your whole experience was with that project itself. Did you not? You had done other stuff with Kapow before?
I've done stuff with Kapow before. I've done about, I think, 4 other plays before Paradise Now with Theater Kapow over the past 8 years or so. So I've worked with a lot of the people, but that project in particular had some people who I haven't worked with before, and that was really exciting. Whenever you're sort of, you don't know what other people are bringing to the table, and you don't know how the dynamic is going to be, and it was great.
So do you do their workshops?
I used to do them frequently. I have not done one in a really long time. They do, I believe it's the 3rd Saturday of every month. In perpetuity, forever. They've been doing this. They're so devoted to training. And I used to do it quite frequently. Recently, I was working a job that I was working on Saturdays, and I wasn't able to go. So I haven't done it in a long time. But their training is fantastic. Yeah,
I wanted to, well, as long as we have an hour, I want to talk to you a little bit about that as well. Do they use that as sort of a filter for potential people they want to work with? I mean, it's not a prerequisite, right, to take their stuff?
No, it's not a prerequisite. I don't know that it's used in that way. I think it's more of an opportunity maybe for people who haven't had a chance to study a lot of different styles of theater or haven't had a chance to really work on something that isn't script-based, right? Because it's not based on a project.
Yeah.
It's just based on sort of growing your tools as an artist.
That sounds kind of private.
I think this is a family show, right? So I think it's really more something that they offer as a service to the community.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
You like them? Have you learned a lot through them?
Oh, yeah, I really have. Matt Cahoon, who is one of the founders of Theater Kapow, and I don't want to speak for him, but he does direct the majority of their shows. He's not the sole director that company uses, but he directs the majority of their shows. He is very much interested, it seems to me, as an actor, in sort of how things look from the audience's perspective in terms of stage pictures, but also in how the proximity of the actors and how they relate to each other, how just space changes relationships. And I don't know, maybe he would get on here and say, that's not what I think at all. But that's what it feels like as an artist working with him.
Your interpretation.
And so that's my interpretation. And so in particular, the first few times I did their training a few years ago, the training was very much about just changing your space or changing your posture or changing something without even using words, just in terms of the way that it makes the space feel to other people around you, changes the perception of what you're conveying, which is, I think, really fascinating.
Yeah, I had done some stuff some in high school, some in college. Back then, they were just calling them theater games, where you were either somebody or something that you were not normally, and then you would have to act or move in a certain way that you wouldn't normally do. It's not in your DNA to do it. And I found it to be fascinating and very productive because all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can do that? I didn't realize that was acceptable, or, that you talk about the proximity of two actors. You don't realize how important that is until you're either on top of them or kind of far away. You don't realize how that personal space really is important on stage.
And I think we perceive it as audience members innately, without even thinking about it, is you perceive how much space is this person taking up, how much power do they have on stage, how much of a smaller space is that other person taking up, or who's moving in which direction as they're approaching each other. A lot of it too is based on the viewpoints, which I cannot remember them all, but it's proximity and direction, and I can't remember what they are. There's like 7 or 8 of them. But yeah, it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think too, as an actor, I come from a place very much of sort of envisioning what this person,
Go ahead, finish that.
what this person might look like moving, and then I sort of inhabit the space physically first.
Yeah. Oh, man. Starting off great. Deirdre Bridge is in the house. Oh, I knew it was going to be a good one. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your host, Ray Dudley. Happy to be out of bed. We are coming to you from the HR puffin' stuff like digs of the WKXL She laughing?
I am.
1450 AM, 103.9 FM in Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful folks in Manchester. NH.radio.com is our URL. Deirdre and I have a lot more to chat about. We'll be right back. Shirley, but burly, banana, potpourri. Guess what I was listening to this morning? Yeah, I got trapped. It's in my mind. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. I am your host with the bunny slippers on, Ray Dudley. Deirdre Bridge is in the house, and we're talking mechanics, which I absolutely love about theater. Deirdre,
I'm picturing you with bunny slippers. Sorry, Ray.
With just bunny slip? Well, never mind.
Like Harvey Firestein and George Sung trilogy, walking down the school hallways.
We're not going to make it. We're not going to make it to the full hour, I'm telling you. The one other thing before we get into Paradise Now, you also forget as an actor, you tend to think you're an island, that you're kind of alone. Mm-hmm. But the other thing about like the theater games and the theater workshops is a lot of them now make you understand you're actually a team, and that things you say, do, move, affect everyone on stage. Mm-hmm. You just don't seem to exist, to do your monologue and walk off. They seem to be very team focused in a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, they very much are. I mean, I don't think there's a theater company that I've worked with that builds an ensemble in quite the same way that they do. I mean, they really have that relationship between the actors and the relationship between the characters in mind as they build a show. When I say they, I mean it varies, right? When I did Paradise Now, we actually auditioned last fall for that show, and there was a director who was going to work on the project who cast us, who wasn't able to direct the show, and they hired a different director to actually direct the show, Wanda Strakas, she's fantastic. She directed Desdemona for them, and she also directed Dance Nation there. And so she had a cast that had been cast for her to direct, which is an unusual situation, I'm sure, for a director to have going in. But regardless of who actually cast the show, it was really exciting to see the different people. And I think a lot of us didn't realize who we were being considered for when we walked in the room. And I think maybe the director wasn't necessarily thinking about who we were being considered for when we walked in the room. So it was really about how we all related to each other in space.
Did you audition from the script, or was it
most of the audition
neutral?
Was not from the script.
Really?
Most of the audition was really about sort of playing games and how would you approach this, and if you were this character, how would you say this, and now pick an adjective. Someone's going to throw an adjective out, and then you're going to have to say this line in that adjective. So it was really just about seeing what people's ranges were, what people's comfort levels were, how people related to one another, and then sort of putting the pieces together from there and going, okay, I think this would work for you and this would work for you. So when I walked in, I sort of thought, I think I'm auditioning for one of these two characters because they're two of the older, quote unquote, characters, it seems, in the play. And that's not the role that I walked out with. And I think that I wasn't suited for either one of them, actually.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it worked out great, yeah.
So you had a chance to read it ahead of time? It's not very well known. I'd never heard of it before.
No, I
Not that, that... Ray didn't hear about it? Oh, duh.
Yeah, no, it's not very well known. I mean, I think that was the U.S. premiere of the play.
Oh.
It's a British play that I think premiered in 2022 or thereabouts. It's fairly new. So yeah, I don't think really anyone had heard of it.
Yeah.
The
The cast was strong.
Yeah.
I knew two other
yeah.
people, Carrie and Katie. I didn't know anybody else besides you. I mean,
Cherie also, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. I keep trying to get her on the show, but she refuses. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But it was a strong cast. And there was some stuff in there that I did not see coming. Katie's evolution and what had happened in with her character. Did not see that coming. And it's funny because I have been involved in some network marketing companies. And I could so easily see that happen when the reveal happened. I'm like, I know some people who did that, and it did not end well. That was pretty fascinating. How did you enjoy working with all of them? Was some of them your first time?
Yeah. It was my first time working with both Maddie and Kyrie, who played the younger couple, Carla and, oh my gosh, I can't remember the characters' names already. But I had never worked with either of them before. I had worked with Cherie. I had worked with Katie. I had worked with Carrie. Barbara, who played the voice of Fiona, was also our costumer, and she was our costumer for Dance Nation. So, oh my gosh, I know I'm going to leave somebody out because it's been a while and my brain is foggy. But
okay, you can put that on me. So truthfully, we were supposed to get together earlier. Except Ray decided he needed to cut his lawn and forgot to show up. So.
But your lawn looks great, I'm sure, especially with that beautiful fence. But anyway, so it was the first time I'd worked with a few people, and it was exciting. It was really an exciting project to work on.
How did you like the play itself?
I liked it a lot. Well, I thought that it was really interesting that each of the characters
I'm going to have some coffee while you
was so different from the other. I mean, obviously that's the ideal, but for those of you who are unfamiliar, Paradise Now is a sort of comedy written by an English playwright about a multi-level marketing company and the 6 women who are involved in the company. But what was interesting was that each person who joined that company joined for a completely different reason.
Yes.
I mean, primarily
that was very noticeable. They did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously like, let's make a living. You can do this. You can work on your own time. You can
own your own business. You can
be your own boss.
Yes.
It's flexible.
I've heard them
all the things. But it was interesting how really all of them were looking for something, whether it was some sort of validation or looking for community or out of loneliness or to prove to themselves that they were worth something. I mean, it was really just more than making a living, but each of those characters really was so different.
Had any of your co-actors ever been involved in multi-level?
I think most of us have been involved at some level, in some way, shape, or form over time. So it was interesting to hear people's stories about, I mean, there weren't that many stories, but it was interesting to hear the ones that we did hear about what people's experiences were, negative, positive, or otherwise.
Yeah. I got to ask you about a scene that I absolutely confused. I have no idea. Forgive me. There's a point where you're all sleeping on the floor.
That was the sleep ballet.
And I'm like...
Ray, get it together.
I would have called it a sleep ballet now that I think of it.
Well, what's interesting...
I didn't get it. I'm what is going on here?
In the script, where the character descriptions are usually written on that first page, the character descriptions in Paradise Now were all about how the people sleep. So this person's an insomniac. This person sleeps for 14 hours at a time and wakes up still not feeling rested. This person is up and down. So there was sort of this insight into their level of slumber, anxiety, restfulness, inability to relax or drive or whatever. That was really the only hint you had of who the person was other than their approximate age.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So this sleep ballet was sort of a resolution to that.
No, it wasn't.
But maybe not for the audience. Hey, you've seen West Side Story, right?
Yes, I have.
You know how there's the ballet in West Side Story where everyone's doing a very slow cha-cha under low light and everyone gets that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, there.
There's no comparison, but thank you for trying.
Sleep ballet.
Doesn't work, but nice try. You did a yeoman's effort there to bail out that. Seriously, I saw it coming. I'm like, what are they? So they're
no, it's called the Sleep Choir. I'm sorry, the Sleep Choir.
That didn't help. There was no singing. They were all sleeping.
Right. In unison, in harmony.
my
and every
God.
other thing.
Oh my God. Okay, my apologies to the author. But I had to ask. I'm like, what is going
It
on
was
here?
kind of beautiful.
It was. It really touched my feminine side, I have to say. Oh, downhill from there. Was that the first time you had worked at the Bank of New Hampshire stage?
No, we did Dance Nation there in 2022. We
Yeah.
did Dance Nation. We did at Derry Opera House and at Bank of New Hampshire stage. So I had only worked there once before, but it's a cool spot.
Is it for an actor?
Yeah, I mean it was built as a music venue,
Yeah.
right? So it lends itself towards that environment where it's kind of an intimate environment. There's that little bar and restaurant upstairs. There's drink rails along the sides
found
of
the
the
bar.
house. There's but it's nice to be in a space where the audience is all pretty close to the to the space that you're working in, and
Yeah.
I think that's just a nice environment.
Yeah. How about the facilities? I mean, like dressing rooms and all. Is it?
The dressing rooms are beautiful. The LED wall is amazing. So, I mean, that was what we used to show the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool
Yeah.
to be able to have projections and stuff on that space. It is a little bit limited in terms of wing space, or very limited.
It looks it.
So whoever's directing and designing the show has to be super inventive about how they approach that. But that is not my problem as an actor. So I'm fine with it.
Oh, man. Ooh, that's good timing. Hang on right there. We're going to put a pin in it right there. You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are signed, sealed, and delivered, baby. I'm your Stevie Wonder-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the YMCA-like digs of the WKXL studios, buried deep in the heart of Concord. Yes, I can smell the chlorine from the pool all the way over here. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM. Those are Concord, 101.9 FM for the beautiful souls in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Deirdre Bridge is in the house, and we're chatting business, acting business. We'll be right back. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, where you make my dreams come true. I am your Hall & Oates type host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the fantasy island-like digs of the WKXL studios. Deep lane. Yes, that's a terrible interpretation or impression. But it's the best I can do. It's still early in the morning. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans. That's in Concord, 101.9 FM. You can hear us, beautiful folks in Manchester, on your Sony Walkmans. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. I'll give you a little bit more info later about what's happening out there. This show can be heard every Wednesday and Friday morning at 9 a.m. Yeah, think of us as your coffee partner. Yeah, like kind of Car 54-ish. Tootie Muldoon sitting there with his buddy, and never mind. I digress, obviously. Deirdre.
I had a line referencing Car 54 one time in a show.
What?
Yeah.
Do you recall it?
The line was just... Ooh. No, Car 54, where are you?
Yes, that's the tagline. Mm-hmm. You are good, girl. Have you been out to see any theater this summer?
No.
Really?
I'm a bad theater patron this summer.
Wow.
I know.
I have been out. It's been a busy summer for me.
I honestly get to more stuff in the winter.
Really?
Yeah. Winters are dark, If after 4, there's nothing else to do. People tend to collect at my home in the summer, so
You drink a lot at home.
I don't get out much. I drink coffee.
That's two of us.
What have you
I
seen
drink a
that's
lot of
exciting,
coffee.
Ray?
I saw the Jersey Boys
Oh, yeah.
at the Winnipesaukee Playhouse and really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I had been looking forward to it for quite a while. And it kind of, it's funny, some of it kind of caught me off guard because of the way. Have you seen the movie? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a few different things in there. And then the way they use some of the songs and they kind of put them in where you're like, okay, they kind of. I had the same thing with Mamma Mia. Some of the things were kind of forced the song to make representation of something that I think really wasn't written for. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was packed. The Winnie,
That's a great space, too. I'd love to work in that space sometimes. I've never worked in that space.
What? Never? Mm-mm. Oh, my God. I love it. And you talk about a place that's kind of tailor-made for actors. So all of the green rooms are downstairs. Mm-hmm. Dressing rooms and green room, all downstairs. And there's like 6, 7 different private rooms you can have. Well, 2 of them kind of group ones. But so there's 3 or 4 private
homes. Group homes for actors.
Yeah. They get the wheelchair ramps for us old folks. But then they have a couple of other rooms where you can go in just like before you go over your lines and stuff, very quiet, and they get the green room with the TV so you can see there's a camera on the stage and you can see what's going on up there. It's very accommodating for actors, very accommodating. They have a huge door that they can bring the set in.
Nice.
And they can build it right there. And then the stage itself is set up so that it can be either proscenium type or thrust. Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. And it seats like 230, something like that. But you wouldn't. It's intimate. You're in.
It feels like a really close space when you're in there as an audience member.
It is a great place. And then there was a ton of stuff I wanted to see. I did go see Cats up at Gene's Playhouse in Lincoln. Not my favorite musical. Mm-hmm. I went with Matt McGonigal, and I'll bet 6 times I said to him, "What's going? I don't go. What do we do? What is going on here?" The songs are okay, but there was like I couldn't find a thread for what really was happening, why they were there, and what was going on, and so it was just like song after song after song, and finally to shut me up, he just said, "Ray, it's a review. Just enjoy it," So.
Yeah, it is a weird show. And I grew up reading the T.S. Eliot poems, the cat poems, as like bedtime stories when I was a child, which is what the musical is based on, the T.S. Eliot poems. And the cats in Cats bear no resemblance to the ones that were in my brain as a child, of course. So
I'm shocked.
Do with that.
There is so much dancing. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. I had talked to the kids afterwards because I was also in Secret Garden with them. That's kind of the reason I went. I told them I'd go. And I said, how you all haven't lost like 30 pounds from it? It's nonstop dancing. There's singing, I think, just to give them a break. But the whole thing is
a great dancer show.
Holy Toledo. I was really amazed. And now, have you been up to Gene's? Mm-hmm. Another great theater to act in.
We worked together there, too.
What?
Did we not do Christmas Carol there together a few years ago, right? Maybe.
Dang it. What is happening to me?
I'm so glad
I knew you looked familiar.
I'm such a memorable artist to work with. Dang.
Oh, man. Cut to the quick again. That's the... Wait, hang on. That's the sound of the bus running me over that Deirdre threw me under. Oh, yeah. We did. But that one, that was a tough haul. That was a lot of people in that production. Mm-hmm. And, of course, now they've taken it over to the Colonial with Powerhouse. And now there's like a whole city involved on stage at one time.
That's awesome.
It's crazy. It's like 80, 90 people.
Easy.
They need air traffic controllers to control everybody on stage there. But they do it great. But it's still Joel's show. Mm-hmm. So it's identical, except it's just larger, And now the one that he does out at Gene's, much smaller cast. A lot of doubling, tripling up on roles and stuff. Yeah. Oh, I knew you looked familiar. I thought maybe I just, gave you money on a street corner somewhere.
No, but you could. I would accept it. Thank you.
Your GoFundMe.
Thank you for offering. My Venmo is blah, 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 blah.
So have you not paid any attention to anything that's going on? Are there any shows that you're like, or that you had friends in this summer that you thought maybe you might like to go see? There's so much happening.
I know there's so much happening. I had a lot of stuff on my radar that sort of every week that goes by, stuff just like falls off. Like, okay, I guess I can't see that. I guess I can't see that. I guess I can't see that. It's like summer's so short.
Yeah.
Our growing season, our beach season is like so short that it just flies by, and I rarely get to see much in the summer at all, which is unfortunate.
I wanted to see Chicago. Little Shop is coming up. I want to see that. There's
Oh, I do want to see Little Shop.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's Lacage is playing up at the Winnie. The Weather Vane is busy up there. I was over the other day walking by the Barnstormers. I'm like, oh, I even forgot this theater was out here. There's just so much. And that doesn't include like all the stuff that, like a Gunkwit, Hackmatack and all that kind of stuff. And I don't even... what's going on down south? I don't have any clue what's going on at the Palace or, down in Derry. Well, so Cruel Intentions is going on.
Yep, Cruel Intentions is happening. And what was just happening? I don't know. I've lost
Heather's.
track.
Heather's is coming up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they already did it, right? They already did it.
Yeah, that was one that was on my radar that I missed out on.
I tell you, and I found that I'm with you, though. If I don't tack it onto my calendar, I don't get there. So are there... what's on your schedule?
I can't tell you.
Oh, just you and me.
I know. I do have something planned. I'm doing a show in September.
Okay.
But it hasn't been announced yet by the theater company.
Okay.
So I can't say. But I am doing a show the weekend of September 20th.
Okay.
Somewhere in the state of New Hampshire with some people.
That means rehearsals are going to start soon for you.
They are going to start in a couple of weeks.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Is it a well-known?
And we had a read-through already.
You did?
We
and
did.
Are you happy with it?
I am thrilled to pieces. Thrilled
Ooh,
to
I'm
pieces.
so intrigued.
Yes, I cannot wait.
Oh, man. I'll have to get you back in when things start.
It's an awesome cast. I can't say, anything about it yet because it's not my job to announce it, but it's an awesome cast.
No, it is your job. You're here.
And I love that I get to play sort of the most grounded person in the show, which is really unusual for me.
It does sound kind of funky.
So yeah, it's going to be.
Do I know anybody else in it?
I think you do.
Ooh, and you're playing that close to the vest. All right. Is it? I won't force you into
20 questions.
I know. I was tiptoeing. I'm tiptoeing. Is it in southern New Hampshire or further up north? I'll leave it there.
It's not. It's not in the Lakes region.
Okay.
And it's somewhere in
New Hampshire,
southernish, middle southern.
I see. Yeah, well, we used to be friends. Remember those days? Well, until you called me out for not recognizing you in 9 plays we've been in together. What is your approach to learning your lines and stuff? Do you have hang on there. Ooh, good timing once again.
I will try to remember that question on the other side.
Thanks, because I'm old. I won't.
I'll write it down. I'll learn my line.
You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the Gong Show-like digs of WKXL Studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 on the FM bands. Those are Concord-based for your Sony Walkmans. 101.9 FM in Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Deirdre Bridge is in the house, and we got one more block to go. A lot of questions. Welcome back to NH Unscripted, where only the good die young, and that's why some of us are still here. I am your Billy Joel-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Taj Mahal-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. My God, it's cavernous in here. Everything just echoes off the walls. It's so huge. You are listening to us on your Sony Walkmans or your transistor radios. Turn on the AM band, 1450. That's where you'll find us. 103.9 FM. Those are Concord-based, obviously. 101.9 in Manchester for the beautiful souls down there. NH Talk Radio is our URL. Out there is a button where you can click to listen live. Live. You believe that? You get up in the middle of the night, click that button, you'll be able to listen to, I don't even know what goes on at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm either blacked out. No, I shouldn't say that. I'm pretty busy at that hour of the morning. Yikes. I knew it. Anyway, you can also find the archives of this show, plus all of the other great programs that take place here. You can just go out, you'll find them. It says on demand, and you just demand to hear an episode. Whew. I kind of made it through that without too much problem. Deirdre is still here with me.
I'm still here, Ray.
Wow. What I asked you before the break, do you have a system that you use to learn lines?
I do.
You do?
It varies a little, but yeah, I pretty much do. I do a lot of writing them down. I write them. I'm a writer, like writing in cursive.
Yeah.
Especially longer lines. And that's the only way that I really cement those little weird connector words. Like, is it to or for?
Yes.
Is it of or from? All those weird things we're trying to be really particular and true to the playwright's words. So I'm a writer. But I also record. I don't use a line learner app. I should use it. I don't. I just use like a voice memo app. And I will record my cues and my lines. And then I will record just my cues with spaces. Yeah. And I just run lines with myself in the car or whatever.
Do you have anybody who runs lines with you normally?
No. When my kids were little, I used to make them run lines.
Yeah.
They would be like, I don't want to do it. Please don't make me do it. But now I just do them by myself.
Yeah, my wife refuses. She's like, no, I'm not getting there. I don't care. I don't want to know about it. I don't care about it.
She's like, there's a reason I don't do theater and you do theater, right? Okay, learn your own line.
That's your hobby. You do it. I'm gardening, So, yeah, I had picked up a lot of the kids, a lot of the younger people, I shouldn't call them kids, but are using apps nowadays for...
The Line Learner app is great.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never used it.
Yeah, because you put in all of the lines, your cues, your lines, whatever, and then you don't have to record things multiple times. You can say, now I just want to hear, my cues, or I just want to, and you can...
Really?
Yeah. It's cool, but I just don't use it.
I'm so old school. I really am. It's funny. I'm very fortunate, and I think I've told this story before, but I have the ability to, when I first highlight my lines, it's like speed reading, and it kind of picks up. I get like 3/4 of all my lines during my highlighting period, which is pretty fascinating. But then the other 1/4 are all those little things that trip me up. The little sentences that maybe you don't say yourself, you wouldn't speak that way, and your mind can't quite grab the wiring to like figure out the there from the or the,
Yeah. A lot of times too, I'll just rehearse the last 2 words of a sentence and the next 2 words of another sentence. So I'll remember what comes next, like just almost like when you're learning a song.
Yeah.
And your mouth knows what's coming next, even if your brain hasn't quite caught up yet.
Yeah.
Which happens, right?
Huh. You think,
It's kind of terrifying when that happens.
I have a project coming up with Donald Tongue. And it's a Robert Frost poem that he's doing. He already did Home Burial, and they filmed it. It's winning all these awards.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
So he asked me to be involved in the next one. But I'm scared to death because it's a Robert Frost poem, and it has to be accurate.
But don't you think things written in verse are easier to learn? Like, I think Shakespeare is, even though the words are stuff we don't necessarily say, it's easy to learn because it's ba-ba, 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 ba-ba.
Yeah, there is the cadence thing.
Yeah.
The other thing I think about Shakespeare is it makes me question why it's being said like it is, like, because the way they used to talk is not the same. Some of the meaning is different, and so I actually have to stop and really look at what does that word mean? What is he trying to convey here? Whereas if it's just our normal, average, everyday American language, we tend to be very flippant with it. It's very cursive. We think we know what the author means by things, and so we just say it. Now, Robert Frost, I was noticing in his poems, there are certain articles, like, and I mean that in the English grammar way, like the. He won't use it in some cases. And so I might say, oh, I'm going to go to the home today, but he'll say, I'm going to go home. And
no one says the home, right? But I get your point. Well, I actually worked at the Frost Farm.
Anyone need to hear the bus sound again?
I worked at the Frost Farm as a tour guide for a couple of seasons.
Yes.
And one of the things that was really cool there is they had a phone in 1908 that was a party line. So he could listen to what his neighbors were saying because they shared their phone line with like 4 other homes.
That sounds freaky.
And his kids, his daughter in particular, Leslie, said that he used to eavesdrop, and that's where he would get inspiration for the cadence, because so much of his poetry is more informal, like the way people speak, as opposed to being this flowery romantic poetry.
Yeah.
And he would listen to the cadence of people's actual speech. So the kids would ask him what he was doing, and he would say, "Shh, I'm doing research."
Research.
That's what we used to say in the
Oh my God.
tours.
Okay, I can kind of get that, kind of. But it throws you off because we're so used. It's like hearing the kids say "like" all the time today, right? Like this, like, and it went like that, and like, and so when you kind of have to strip that out, you pause mentally.
Yes, that's true.
Because you're tempted DNA wise to throw in what you think is going to be there, except it's not there. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of nervous because obviously it's a film, and I'm sure there'll be somebody on set who has a script and is like, no, he did not put that "the" in there, old man. And
It's the beauty of film, Ray. You can have as many takes as you want.
I know.
Within budget.
Yeah. Well, what's really nice is it's digital, right? So it's not like they got to waste film.
Right.
Like the old days, they would.
Right.
I can't imagine what would have cost if you had to redo a scene 30, 40 times, like Hitchcock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it would be devastatingly. So you have a project which shall remain unnamed at this point.
It's a project that has nothing to do with Robert Frost. That's your hint.
You don't know how lucky you are. But is that the only thing on your calendar for the rest of the year?
Yep.
On purpose? Or you just haven't...
I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, even ever since sort of theaters reopened in 2021, I haven't done nearly as much as I was doing before. And partly it's just sort of like what's happening with like my family and, stuff like that. And some of it is sort of like, gee, maybe I can relax a little between projects. And
it's an interesting dynamic. I'm glad you brought that up. Not enough people, I think, reference the impact that The Thing had on theater, right? Mm-hmm. So I had that same feeling. All of a sudden, we stopped. Mm-hmm. And I went, I kind of like this. I like being home. You forget you're on this train ride or whatever. The wheels just keep on turning.
Well, especially you were very prolific, and I was very prolific before. I mean, what did you do a year? I would do like 6 to 12 projects easy in a year,
and I was doing commercials.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and then also maybe doing some like play reading in between, or and it's consuming.
Yeah,
and it's great. I love it. But you forget that, like, this is what a home cooked meal tastes like.
I know, isn't it crazy?
Is this what's on television nowadays?
I'm like 8 o'clock, I can go to bed.
Oh, I can condition my hair.
That's not something I've said, but I'm glad you brought it up.
But I definitely have slowed down.
It's funny, when I did Secret Garden, and actually last year, Joel's been very good to me. Joel
Mercier.
Yes, thank you. Up at Jeans. Mm-hmm. He's been a very good friend, and he invites me up to when they periodically need a fat old guy. And they're like, great, we got a spot. The Wizard, right? So, right, that's the description. I think it's in the character description, fat old guy. Anyway, he brings me up, and I turned to Matt McGonigal the other night. I said, because he is now in Little Shop of Horrors. And I said to him, Matt, you and I are going through the same thing where we say, yes, we'll do the project. A week or two in, we're like, why in the world did I say yes to this? And then once it goes up, you're okay, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that point in our life.
Yep, for sure.
Deirdre, thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me. It's so great to be here.
Oh my God, I know. We probably met last week, and I just didn't even know it. You are listening to NH Unscripted. I am your host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Rowan and Martin Laugh-In Like Digs of the WKXL Studios in Concord. 1450 AM, 103.9 FM on your Sony Walkmans, 101.9 FM for the beautiful folks of Manchester. NHTalkRadio.com is our URL. Deirdre, thank you once again.
Thank you, Ray.
I don't think she meant it.